Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at the Time2Test class in figure 8.6 here. And we have a main method, and the main purpose of this method is to show you how to create Time2 objects using the various different constructors that we've implemented in the Time2 class definition. We don't exercise the other set and get methods. We just wanted to build a more robust Time2 class that we could potentially reuse in future examples. So let's take a look at lines 8 through 13, which are the key part of this example. And you'll see here that we are constructing new Time2 objects using various sets of arguments to the constructor. So let's look at line 8 first of all here, where you see that we're creating a new Time2 object and we're using empty parentheses at the end of the line to indicate a call to the default or no argument constructor. Now the compiler is always going to be looking for an exact matching constructor definition. So this particular constructor says that constructor call says that it requires no parameters, no arguments, and we will go back over to the Time2 class here, and you can see back at the top of the class that we do indeed have a Time2 constructor with no arguments, and that is going to call the constructor with 3 arguments to set the time to midnight as the default value. For this call to the constructor, when we create the new Time2 object with a single integer argument, that represents the hour value. And if you recall, we had a version of the Time2 constructor that takes a single integer argument. There is another constructor, by the way, that takes a single argument, but that one is of type time2, so the compiler knows to call the version with the integer argument because the value that we supplied was a whole number, which Java automatically treats as an integer. So that's going to set the hour to 2, and the minute and second will get default values of 0. In this case, on line 10, we're calling a version of the Time2 constructor that expects 2 integers. Again, we're passing 2 whole numbers, so Java thinks those are integers. And that's going to invoke the constructor here at line 24 that takes 2 integers representing the hour and minute and passes them to the constructor that takes 3 arguments, and the last argument value will be 0 for the second as the default. The next 2 lines are both going to call the 3-argument constructor. In this first case, we're passing valid values to indicate that the new time should be in the afternoon at 12:25 and 42 seconds. And that's going to invoke the 3-argument constructor directly, which in turn is going to call setTime to actually set the time. So all the other constructors are calling this constructor, which in turn calls setTime, and setTime then calls setHour, setMinute, and setSecond. At line 12, we're calling the Time2 constructor with 3 arguments again, and all of them, as you can see here, are out of range, so we should expect this Time2 object to get all default values for the hour, minute, and second. And then finally, at line 13, we have another call to a Time2 constructor that expects a single argument, except this time T4 is an object of class Time2. So this is looking for a constructor that expects a time2 parameter. And if you look at the last constructor at line 36 in the time2.java file, you can see that we do indeed have a version of the constructor that takes another time2 object and uses that object's hour, minute, and second to initialize the new time2 object. Now, all of the rest of the program shows you the universal string and 12-hour clock format string versions of each of our time objects, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, and T6. So let's go ahead and run this so we can check and see that everything got initialized correctly. And I'm just going to expand our output window here so you can see the full output. Here you can see that T1, which was using the default constructor call, shown here back at line 8, was indeed initialized to midnight. T2, which was initialized with just 2 for the hour, shows you 2 a.m., which is correct. T3, which was initialized with 21 and 34 for the hour and minute, representing 9:34 in the evening, was indeed initialized correctly. T4 called the 3-argument constructor, and you can see the 3 values, 12, 25, and 42 in the afternoon. T5 received 3 invalid values, and notice that we went back to all the defaults of zeros for the hour, minute, and second. And T4, which was originally initialized with 12, 25, and 42, did indeed provide those values to the object T6 as it was getting initialized.
Looking to advance your career by acquiring new skills? Tired of expensive off-site training programs? Wish you could learn from the best instructors in the industry? Look no further than live lessons. Self-paced, personal video instruction by the world's leading technology publishers. Each live lesson comes with a DVD featuring 3 to 4 hours of instructor-led classroom training, sample program code that allows you to work along with your personal instructor, and an example-rich study guide. Live lessons allow you to watch the entire course from start to finish, or navigate directly to any of the individual lessons. You'll literally watch over the shoulder of your instructor as he shows you how to build state-of-the-art applications. Live lessons, the power of the world's leading technology experts at your fingertips. To learn more, visit mylivelessons.com today.